Hi, this is Carol Liberty, Professor, Human Services and Early Childhood Education Coordinator at Asnuntuck Community College in Enfield. When students enter Asnuntuck to begin their associate degree, many stay on until they have earned their bachelor's degree in social work. From the associate degree to the bachelor's in social work, without leaving Asnuntuck Community College. So one of the great things about community colleges is they can be so flexible. They really strive to meet community needs. And it was about 6 or 7 years ago, Maureen, that students were graduating from Asnuntuck with their associate's degree and coming to see me and saying, I'm going to stay for another associate's. And this went on and on. And I knew that they would have a better quality of life and could advance their education if they went on from Asnuntuck and moved to a four-year school. But they didn't want to leave this close and wonderful environment. So through a conversation with one of your off-campus coordinators, he said, well, you know, we've been doing this in Massachusetts community colleges, having students finish with their AS degree and then transfer to Elms, but stay on their campus. And that was the answer for our students. It really responded to their need to want to continue education, but not leave this building.
Right, I remember that very well. And I remember at first when we started doing this at Elms College, I wasn't quite sure whether it was such a great idea for students to stay and not physically move on, but I really see the benefit, and I really see it here at Asnuntuck, particularly because you've had these beautiful renovations. The campus is large, there's an outdoor space. It's really, it's a very nice college feel. And I think as social workers, we really believe in communities and community practice. In fact, that's one of my favorite courses to teach is community practice. So we spend a lot of time studying the local community. So we actually study Enfield itself and the surrounding communities. So I think when we're talking about these communities and being physically present, it really adds a layer that maybe wouldn't exist if we were in a different setting. So it has been a very good idea, I think. The students like it. They really grow in the way a four-year student does. They take on, they understand they're Elm students. They go to the campus. I always tell them, get a hoodie, bring your family, let them know where you go to school, but at the same time, keeping that close relationship and loyalty to the community college. So it really, it has worked very well.
It's been a great partnership, and the fact that you're here on Saturdays and students can take online classes as well, and then they move into their field work. You know, our students are juggling so much between work and family, and to be able to be close by, they don't have a long way to travel, they don't have a big campus to truck through from the parking lot. It really works for them. And so, you know, when you think about the obstacles that really were there, you know, you're a private college in Massachusetts and we're a community college in Connecticut, you know, there were people who scratched their heads and said, is this really going to work? But, you know, to Elm's credit and your credit, you know, you were really invested in providing this for our students. And because you had such a great history of doing it in the past at other community colleges, we were able to learn from that, learn from your track record. And, you know, our students are so thrilled to have this option. It doesn't happen anywhere else in Connecticut at a community college. And so we feel unique and special that we're able to have that partnership. And even before the bachelor's completion program was here, our students would often transfer to Elms because you have a similar environment. It feels like a family there. It's not too big. You know, professors really know their students, and it just felt like a good next step. But this has provided a wonderful opportunity for students who aren't quite ready for that for a variety of reasons.
No, I agree with you. I think it has been a very good next step. And we've always had students from Asnuntuck, so that familiarity is certainly there. And like you said, technically we're another state, so we do have that difference. But because it's so close to the state line, and I think there's a lot of back and forth, it's very comfortable for us. So, and the students, they adapt very well. I'm here at Saturday and I'm teaching today myself, and it's a very nice experience to be here. And again, I just think the beauty of this campus makes it very comfortable. I enjoy the students. I feel like I already know the students a little bit because we've had so many Asnuntuck students and, you know, have been working on this project for so long now. There's a good relationship.
Absolutely, and I'm really excited about the fact that now high school students are coming into Asnuntuck and identifying, I want to go to the Elms Bachelor's Completion Program. So they're setting forth that vision right when they start with us, and then they're clear about what courses they need to take.
Right.
You know, they most times will major in human services here, but not always. Sometimes early childhood, sometimes criminal justice. And I love the cohort model that you all have. So they get so close and support each other when they're at the Elms, when they're here on campus through the Elms program, that works really well for our students too.
It does. The cohort really is a powerful experience for students. And I think one thing that's good is by the time we came here, we had already worked the bugs out of the system. Certainly there's always a new bug, but we kind of had tried it out and knew how it worked. So when we brought it to here, it was pretty well polished, I think, and with nuances for Asnuntuck. And it's been nice for me this year because I'm teaching Introduction to Social Work, so it's a required class that generally they take. And I could see at first some of them knew each other, but didn't know each other 100% necessarily. And we do have a student from one of the other community colleges here in Connecticut. And within a couple of hours, you could see they were beginning to know one another. You know, we did small group work, and already I can see it. They text each other, they have that sense. And I have found that to be very powerful because school is hard, studying is hard, but then life is hard too. So students generally will really back one another up when the going gets tough. And I think what you said, because our styles are very similar, a small school to a small school, sometimes I'll say that to students. I'll say, you know, if you want to be anonymous, it's not going to work here. If you have a sore throat, we're going to know. We're going to say, oh, did you know Mary has a sore throat? And we're in touch with any difficulties they might have at home to the extent that they're comfortable. But I think we are sensitive. Well, we are social workers, human service, early childhood people, so we have that built in. But I think that if we need to be flexible, we are flexible. But we also really try to bring students into an academic setting that's rigorous, and that there's an expectation that out in the professional world you really do have to do things at certain times. So we try and to keep that as much as possible. So, so I think that that's helpful to the students.
And that, you know, forming your own support group is so important to carry forward into the field of social work.
Yes.
You know, you really need to be able to nurture yourself and figure out where you're finding your own support to be able to do this important work.
Yes.
Have you found our students to be well prepared for the last 2 years of their bachelor's?
It's interesting that you say that because I was thinking about that earlier today. I've always found Asnuntuck students to be well prepared, and I like the idea that they come through different doors. So it's not like they have to follow this particular major. There are different majors that they can take. Like you had said, someone comes up through criminal justice, that gives them a little different perspective and sort of enriches the classroom. Human services is great because a lot of times they've had some experiences in the community. And I do find that they're usually ready. Getting through a 2-year associate's degree, I always tell them that is probably the hardest degree that you're going to obtain. It's, you know, you have to take a lot of different courses, and you have to organize yourself to get through the 2-year experience. And I usually find that is the one that's most challenging. After the 2 years, they sort of have it. Also, I don't find them saying, I didn't know what to major in, so I picked social work. They usually know. A lot of them work in the field. This year we have a number who came up through early childhood and work in early childhood, which is a favorite field of mine, and I think that is a fabulous background and a good match. Early childhood and social work is a very good match. So I do find that, so I do find them well prepared. I do think that by the time they've gotten the 2-year degree, they've had a little experience, particularly human services, they're ready to roll. So one of the things that I do tell them right from the beginning, and I'm sure they get this message from you and from others, the program is not social work light. It is the same as if they were, I always tell them, if you were in my main campus 5 days a week, you would see me all the time and whatever. It is the same. The books are the same, the syllabus is the same, the assignments are the same, there's no difference. The time sitting in the chair is almost the same, it's just set up differently. They still do the 400-hour internship. Really the only adjustment is that the time sitting in the classroom is more intensely scheduled on Saturdays. So I do feel satisfied that they're not getting, well, you know, we don't really have time for this because you're a Saturday student. Everything's the same. So somehow that has managed to work out well, and I do feel confident about that. I also tell the students, if you're a Saturday student at Asnuntuck, you are no less valued or thought about or recognized. You know, we look at you, we think about you just as much as if you were on the day campus. Also, we are used to students with 2-year degrees. Most of our students do have a 2-year degree, an associate's degree. So our curriculum, I think, has a lot of thought behind it for students who are usually a little bit older and are really fun to teach because they always tell us new things that I didn't know anything about. So it really is a two-way street many times.
Well, we're so grateful to Elms because you think about, it's been about 50 students that have graduated from here, and you know, those students may not have been able to pursue a career with a livable wage without that bachelor's, and I know you've had a number of them go on to the master's degree afterwards. So what starts here at the associate level, really thanks to, you know, Elms answering our call and what students needed, allows them that opportunity and again that vision that they may not have had otherwise. So we are grateful for the partnership.
I think that's great. I mean, one of the things that I think during the pandemic has become clear is the shortage of particularly mental health providers, but providers in general. And sometimes I'll say to the students, you know, you're like gold. Like, we need you. Agencies are very short-staffed. You know, if you're looking at a master's degree, we always say you don't have to have a master's degree. You can have a long and lovely career with a bachelor's degree in social work. But if you get a master's, like, there are a lot of opportunities. And I just think the timing is like really amazing for people to take this path. So I'm very happy that we've done this too. I mean, looking at the greater Enfield community, looking at the needs, looking at the, you know, taking time to study the community and having the students study the community, there are lots of opportunities here. They do the 400-hour internship, as you know, and a lot of it has been done right in this area, even for the town itself, but also in the schools here, and then just, you know, a few steps outside. If students want to do something different, which can also be a nice thing, they can go lots of places. I mean, our geographic reach is pretty wide. So occasionally a student will say, okay, I know this community, I want to try something a little different. So they might go into a nearby urban setting, or they might go into someplace that's much more rural. So even though we encourage them to build up the local community and reinvest in the local community, sometimes that's best done by having a new experience too.
That sounds great. Yep, all that it affords our students, it just sounds wonderful. Our shared students, right?
Yes. So
Yeah.
it's been great.
Yeah, for us as well.
As a mother of 2 small children who also was working full-time, going back to school and obtaining a social work degree didn't seem possible. But the partnership between Asnuntuck and Elms actually made that dream come true. I was able to attend classes close to home, on the weekends, and during a schedule that worked for me and my family. The professors were passionate about helping us succeed, and I was able to graduate with my bachelor's through this program in less time than I anticipated, and in May of 2021.